Well, this is my shed that I had made. That's have it made. I did that fencing as well. That's have it made. I had no work make it or anything. Anyway, one bloke come up and he's done it. He's done a good job of it. And this is him. There's our Phoebe. Right, and in here we've got the router table, which I've put on a separate video. We've got that. The statutory wad box there on the wall. We've got the bench grinder. The pedestal drill, a stand drill, whatever you want to call it. That's just an extra bench I use. That's basically like an industrial type vacuum cleaner, if you would. That's onto this machine here, which is the first machine I actually bought, which is obviously my bandsaw, which is quite a good bit of kit. It's probably the most used machine that I have in here. This underneath, this is the latest edition. This is my planer thicknesser. You plane a piece of wood across the top to get it dead flat, then you feed it back in underneath, flat side down on the pan, and it makes the top then parallel to the bottom. So you've got, and you can adjust the width and everything. You can make the piece of wood or plank, whatever that you want. One of the big problems I had in here was, this is my wood stock. As you can see, it's just a pile of crap. It's all bits that have been left from the building of the shed and what have you. So, and whatever I'm doing, I'm using old wood, and it's all that old crappy wood that's full of whiskers and all that. So this planer actually allows me to turn that crap wood into decent wood that you can actually work with, that's square. This over here, them are some jigs I've made on top, and my little Hoover that Sheila bought me for my birthday. And I've got some various chainsaws and whatever underneath. That's my MIG welder. It's a gasless MIG. It works brilliantly, absolutely brilliantly. I'd recommend them to anybody for light work, but my problem is I can't keep my hands still. I'm shaking all the time, so it's virtually impossible for me to form a weld with it without using two hands, and obviously with a mask you can't do that. So I invested in that little black bag down there, which is one of them speed masks, which reacts to the arc up and darkens it and lightens it for you. With that, I can now have two hands free to do the welding, and I can do it now. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. That some spur blades and what have you up there. This is a chop saw, it's the second thing that I bought. Chop saw, miter saw, whatever you want to call it. It miters in all directions, sideways, that way, whatever. You can cut virtually anything with that. And the blade on it, it's a cracking blade on it. It's basically, I didn't rate it. I didn't think it would be any good, because it's one of these do-all, and a do-all normally does, well, as the phrase says, sod all. But it does actually work. It cuts wood without any problem whatsoever. It'll also cut up to 6mm of steel. So if you've got a piece of wood and it's got a nail or a screw in it, it makes no difference, cut straight through it. So it's very handy for cutting little bits of steel as well. That's me. Well, I'm a bit disappointed with that, to be honest with you. There's no accuracy or anything in it. Everything sort of moves. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it does actually move a bit. Everything is, it's very substandard for a linisher that you want. I mean, you want a square edge there, but you know, it depends on how it's feeling really when it wakes up in the morning, whether it's got to be square or not. So I think that will be cleaned up and sold off, and I'll get a decent one of them. That's my battery charger for my drill bit, for my drills in there. I made that box, put it in there. My first charger, first time I used it, so it plugged it in and it made a big bang and went off. They're all damp inside, so I've made that, so that keeps that dry. These two little beauties here, my pride and joy. That looks like a little kiddie's toy, the size of it. That's probably the most powerful bloody bit of kit I've ever seen. It really is totally incredible, that. They're both 18 watt Li-ion XR DeWalt units. This is just this is a standard multi-purpose drill, basically screwdriver drill, as you normally have, variable speed and all the rest of the stuff. Don't use that very often at all. This one, it's purely an impact driver. That's basically what it's for. It puts screws in, but when I say put screws in, it'll put 4-inch screws in without even thinking about it. It works on the same principle as those. If you go to a garage, a tyre garage, the air machine that they use for taking off your wheel nuts and putting them back on again, how it makes that noise, that like a hammering noise. It's going that way. It's hammering round, impacting round, as opposed to impacting that way like a hammer drill would. And this does the same, and it impacts going round. And believe you me, what a piece of kit. You can put these, that's a bent one, an old one, but you can put them 4-inch bolts, and that's a big bolt. It'll hammer them home all day long without a pilot hole or anything, and it'll do that until the battery's flat, no problem whatsoever. Doesn't even slow down. And over here, this is the bench, my bench. I've got this saw here, a fret saw. Again, a bit disappointed in that it doesn't. It's okay, it does its job, but it's not as good a bit of kit as I thought it'd be. The only good thing about this is this here. That unscrews off, and then you can attach this cable mooly up there, which is basically a Brevolos. You unscrew that and you can put, there's thousands of different attachments. I've only got one or two in there, but there's all types of different attachments that go in there, and it's all variable speed, so you can do virtually anything with that, you know, any fine work or anything like that you need to do. Well, basically that's about it. I've got all my nuts and bolts, screws and everything, and all that's a little shot of all my actual tools, my power tools. I've got virtually, well, more or less everything I need. Jigsaw, that's a hammer gun, it puts nails in, staples, stuff like that. It's just an ordinary drill. That's a hand planer, obviously an ordinary saw, circular saw. This is not a bad bit of kit, called a biscuit jointer, and basically it's just like a little circular saw, and you set it and you cut sort of semicircular holes. Well, they're not, they're elliptical. That's a bag of the actual biscuits. what they call biscuits, and it cuts half of one of them, half of that shape, into a piece of wood. So you do that to 2 pieces of wood, put some glue in the hole, put the biscuit in, and then put them together, and Bob's your Auntie Gladys, you've got a good joint. So it's quite good that for making, like, say, tabletops. Not that I'll ever make a tabletop, but everything else. I've got a orbital sander and a bloody I'm a bit miffed with this, to be honest, this angle grinder. When I bought that, it came with a rubber back for putting sandpaper discs on, and you know, your standard solid disc for cutting or grinding. And I've lost my flaming rubber one, the rubber disc, and I've bought probably a dozen since then on eBay, all different types, but it's virtually hard plastic what you're buying. There's no flex in it at all, so it's lost a lot of its potential, that machine, because of that. I just can't get it over one of the flexi pads anymore to use sandpaper with. That's a heat gun next to it, and then there's an engraver, and then a few hand tools. This is a nice bit of kit. It were only cheap, I think that were about a tenner, and it's basically it's just a strap, as you can see, and if you make a box and you glue it up and you want to clamp it, it's very difficult to clamp a box. Well, this, you put one of them on each corner, so it don't matter how big the box is, and then you withdraw your tape out of it, and then the handle at the bottom is for final adjustment for how tight it is, and it tightens the whole thing up. It's brilliant. This is another cracking little tool here. It's a saw, hand saw obviously, but the blades on it, it's flat underneath, smooth underneath, but it cuts at the top. So the idea of that is, if you put a dowel in on something, then you can do that without damaging the top, but it will cut the dowel dead flush with the wood that you're working on. So that's a good bit of stuff. Well, that's about it really in here. One of the reasons for this documentary is for insurance purposes. If I ever get ripped off, then at least I know exactly what I've got, because it's all on here. Right, catch you later. She's just catching a few rays. You're nice and warm there, Phoebe. Is it? Nice and warm? Yeah, okay. Right, catch you on the flip side.